In this video, we will look at the instructional strategy called first turn, last turn. This is an instructional strategy that will allow students, even those who are not sure of themselves in discussion or might be students who sometimes struggle to participate, to be part of the discussion. So the main focus with this strategy is to use it with analyzing primary sources, especially more challenging primary sources. So here's the process. Each student individually reads the document that you have selected. It's best to go with a document that is maybe one paragraph or about 2 paragraphs long for this activity. As the students read individually, they highlight or underline 4 sentences or phrases that they think are either important or critical to understanding the document, or are unclear or confusing to them. This allows students to participate in this activity even if they feel like they are not clear on the document itself. These 4 sentences or phrases can be either all important, all unclear, or a mixture of these characteristics. Once students have read and highlighted, you then create groups of 4 students. The 4 is directly related to the number of sentences they underlined. If you use larger groups, if you have groups of 5, each student would need to highlight or underline 5 sentences or phrases. You always want that number to be the same. Get your students to form small groups. Sometimes I call them knee-to-knee or small fire groups, so they're face-to-face and can really discuss the document with each other. The way this activity then works is you select one student in the group to be the first turn student, and they are going to select the first phrase or sentence from the 4 that they highlighted to discuss. But they're only going to introduce it and not comment further. So they might say, for example, I am confused when the author says, and then they read the sentence they highlighted. Or I think it's critical, the author says, and then they read the sentence that they highlighted and they stop talking. They don't explain why they're confused. They don't explain why it's important or critical. Next, the discussion moves round robin to the other students in the group. Each student in turn then has to comment, add, or clarify about that specific sentence that the first turn student introduced. So they might explain why they were confused by it. Maybe it was a vocabulary word. Maybe it was the syntax. They can explain why they think it's important, what they think the sentence means. If they did not highlight the sentence, they can talk about what they think the sentence means at this point now that they've seen it. So it's not required that they had the same sentence, just that they read it and comment on it. When the round robin gets back to the first turn student, the first turn student then explains their original reason for selecting the sentence. They might explain that they were confused by a word, they were unsure about what the meaning was, or they can explain why they thought it was critical. The first turn student now also summarizes what the group has said. So they are going to paraphrase what the group has indicated from the discussion that they've listened to. So they are going to be the voice that brings the discussion about the individual sentence or part of the reading to a close. Very importantly, you're going to run through each of this step, first turn to last turn, with each student in the group being the first turn student once. This is why having 4 sentences is critical to this activity, so that every student will have a sentence or a phrase to discuss that another person or another individual in the group has not already talked about. So again, first turn person introduces the sentence or phrase. The rest of the group focuses on that same sentence or phrase in round robin with comments, additions, clarifications, definitions, and then the first turn person becomes the last turn person to summarize what the group has said and explain their original understanding of the sentence, or to clarify if they are no longer confused. So a very important part of understanding this activity is that there can be absolutely no crosstalk between students. When it is a student's turn to talk, first turn or in round robin, there can be no interruptions from their classmates. No interruptions to explain what words mean, no interruptions to agree, no interruptions to clarify. Everyone has to wait for their turn. This ensures that your quieter students or your students who are less sure of themselves do not get shut down in the conversation, even if it's well intended.